Do you want to make more money?
I definitely do.
Okay. You have to do me a favor then.
Okay.
Never, for the rest of your life, most of the contractors that we work with tell me the same story. When I get a referral, when somebody reaches out to me, I close them almost every single time. My close rate is like 90%. But when I get Facebook leads or Angie leads or any of these online advertising kind of sources, they're cheap, they're tire kickers, they only care about price, and even when I drop my price, I still lose the job. If that sounds like you, you'll want to watch this video. So, just for context, my name is Sean Cameron. I own the Contractor Marketing Mastermind. But before doing this, I actually ran my own contracting business, and I also, inside of another business, managed 18 locations with 70 active employees. So, I just do this because I realize that so many guys struggle with marketing and sales, and we can really help. Since starting the CMM, we've helped more than 300 contractors at the time of recording this video generate millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of sales. And what you're going to see in this video is a real coaching call that I had with one of our members. It's not a highlight reel. This is literally the conversation I have with almost every contractor who hops on a call with me and who is inside of our program, because most good operators are making the same three mistakes. They email or they text a bid and they hope. They assume that leads are too cheap instead of fixing the booking process, and they avoid presenting in person because they think that it's a waste of time or that they can't really book big projects on the spot. And so in this call, we walk through how to stop competing on price by never emailing a quote again, how to use a simple first phone call to filter out the people who can't afford the job or don't have both decision makers on board, and how to turn a site visit into a real sales conversation that makes your price feel cheap for the amount of work that you're doing, and using a 3-step estimating process so that you're not driving 40 minutes for dead quotes, even if you can't price it on the spot. So if you're an established residential contractor who does great work, but you're not booking the jobs on the prices that you know that you should be, this is going to show you exactly why. And you're also going to get a real unedited look at the kind of coaching that you get inside of the Contractor Marketing Mastermind. So I'm going to cut to this other video, and I hope you enjoy. I hope you find it useful. This is a very common conversation that we have, and one that every single time I have it, people get to the end and they go, my mind is blown. This is a totally new way of looking at things. Walk me through sales process. I'm just gonna like ask you a bunch of questions about like what you are doing or
Okay.
not doing, because the booking rate is something that I think there's actually a lot of leverage in.
Okay.
So a lot of the times when people are selling to referrals, word of mouth, those kind of guys, they have a very high booking rate. And oftentimes when they start doing advertising, they have a very low booking rate.
hmm
Sometimes it's like 10, 15, 20%. It depends on previous experience and a bunch of stuff like that. But let's just imagine it was like 10% right now. You can
Okay.
actually, you can double very easily to 20%. If you're at like 50%, you're not going to double to 100. So there's the reason why there's so much leverage is because your booking rate right now is like quite low. That means that if we could just like establish a couple of key things in this conversation that like if you're not doing, you start doing, it'll actually have a huge impact, because it's very easy to go from like 10 to 20 or even 20 to 40. It's harder when you start getting to like, okay, I'm already closing 70%. I want to get to 80 or 90. It's like,
hmm
it's a lot harder. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Everything word of mouth I've closed very easily.
Yeah.
I've closed, except for one lady who had no idea what it would cost to redo her kitchen and thought she was going to get it for $5,000.
Perfect, eh?
Um,
Do you know why that is? Why
I'd
it's
have,
like so much different?
I don't, I
Okay.
don't know why.
So at its core, it's because the people that are getting referred to you, like let's say they worked with a friend and then they get referred to you, there's a transfer of trust that happened there.
Okay.
Because if I vouch for somebody, the chances that they're going to just like go forward with that person are very, very high because they trust me. And so therefore, they trust that other person because they basically use my judgment as a
Uh,
proxy for their own. So if I trusted
gotcha.
them, I liked them, then like you can trust them too. So
Uh-huh.
they'll close at a very high rate because they know somebody who knows, likes, and trusts you. So they
Uh-huh.
also like already trust you to do a good
Gotcha.
job. So that doesn't exist when they just reached out through Facebook, which means
Uh-huh.
that we need to have a very solid sales process to bring them through that establishes that trust very quickly and kind of catches them up on why they should already know, like, and trust us.
Okay.
So there's a couple of pieces. Number one, are you emailing bids right now, or are you presenting in person?
I'm texting the bids right now, but I have been following up next day
Okay.
and saying, hey, I see that I sent you this bid. Have you had a chance to look at it? I wasn't following up before, and I started following up now. Um, it was something Hope and I talked about a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Um, the other thing is yeah, I'd love to go back and do it in person, but right now I don't have time to do that. So it has to be a phone call. Um,
Okay.
uh, just because I'm the only guy on site,
Mm-hmm.
don't really have a I don't really have a timeline where I can be gone all the time. Um, but yeah, I'd love to do that.
Okay.
So the following up has helped, I think.
Yeah, the following up is definitely, like, if you weren't following up before, following up will help a lot. Um, do you want to make more money?
I definitely do.
Okay. You have to do me a favor then.
Okay.
Never, for the rest of your life, email a bid.
Okay.
Never text it, never email it. Here's the thing that I want you to remember. If it's not worth driving out there to present it in person, it's not worth putting together in the first place.
Okay.
Now, that said, people waste a lot of time going out to quotes that have zero chance of booking. So we need to have a good process on the initial phone call to filter those people out so that when we do go out and we present it, we have a very high likelihood of booking on the spot.
Okay.
The reason why oftentimes people end up in a price competition is because they are only allowing the customer to make the decision based on price. So when you email a bid, the reason why it's a race to the bottom is because everybody's racing to the bottom of the bid to see what is the final number.
Gotcha.
Versus when you're in person, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, you've probably gone forward with things just because you really liked the person. And sometimes we even pay more money. Actually, oftentimes we even pay more money just because the other person makes us feel a lot more confident and
Yeah.
certain about moving forward. So if I feel really good about somebody remodeling my home and they're like $4, $5, $6,000 more than the other guy, it's worth it for me to go with this guy that I'm getting a much better, like, energy from, if you will, than to go with the other guy that's a bit cheaper, where I'm like, something kind of feels off. But that's
Okay.
missing when we email the quote. So if you want to charge higher prices, you got to show up and do it. But that
And
idea of, yeah, that idea of I don't want to go, I don't put together estimates that aren't worth putting together is a big piece of this as well. Where, yeah, it's like, if it's not worth driving out, taking an evening or taking yourself off of a job site for a little bit to go and sit down with them and walk them through it, why are we spending the time putting together the bid in the first place?
Gotcha.
Because we know that the likelihood that we're going to book the job is way higher if all we do is just make sure we get to sit down with them and walk them through it and actually ask for the project. If we
Okay.
just do that, even if we change nothing else and we just simply make sure we sit down and present it, you will for sure close a higher percentage of them. And the thing
Okay.
is, to get to the kind of goals that you're talking about, how many jobs is that per month?
Um, depends on how much the jobs are. I mean,
Yeah, fair.
you're
Let's say it's a $20,000 job. Really, we need like 4 jobs a month to do $1 million a year in top line revenue. We
okay.
need 4 jobs a month. So
Yeah.
if we can just make sure we're setting up good quotes and that we have filtered them properly so that we're only putting together quotes that have a high likelihood of booking, cool. Like, let's go sit down and meet with 10 people and book 4 of them. That's
Okay.
fine. I don't want to be sending out like 30, 40 quotes a month to hopefully try to have a couple. Like, no, no, no. That takes way more time than this.
Yeah.
So on the initial phone call,
Uh-huh.
a lead comes in. How quickly are you calling them?
I usually call them within 24 hours.
24 hours. Okay.
Yep. Stop.
What's stopping you from calling them the minute that they come in?
Uh, uh, Hold on.
You're good. You're good.
Sorry about that. I got 3 dogs and a dog walking by.
You're good.
A lot of times what's stopping me from doing that is I don't work weekends. Okay. Most of that stuff has come um in the middle late night or in the middle of the night on like a Friday or Saturday night. And then um and that's really the only reason that it's taken it, within 24 hours.
Okay. I would like to see outside of weekend times, if you can get it under 5 minutes, you will
Okay.
see a way higher conversion rate. And through the system that we had given to you, it'll automatically call the leads or call you the second the lead comes in. You press a number and then you can call out.
Uh-huh.
Doing that will massively increase the percentage of people that you get a hold of. That's just like a
Okay.
quick thing. And here's another piece. People will judge you a lot based on how quickly you respond back to them.
Okay.
So somebody reaches out to you on Facebook, you call them within a minute. Psychologically, that person is thinking, this guy is on it. This guy, when I have a problem later on with my project, he's going to be extremely attentive. If it
Okay.
takes you 48 hours sometimes to get back to people, they're going to use that as an approximation of what it's going to be like to actually work with you later on down the road. If you
Okay.
just imagine, it's like right now we're trying to win their business, we're trying to get their money to get the job. If we're not willing to like answer quickly there, what's the chances that after they've already paid that we're going to answer quickly? That's what they're thinking. So fair enough on the weekend thing. I'm not going to push you on that.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's such a simple thing that will increase your booking rate in terms of how many estimates you set up, but as well how many of those estimates turn into jobs.
Okay.
On that phone call, are you how long is that phone call typically when you get a hold of them?
Typically it's about 5 minutes.
Okay. For somebody that doesn't have time, this is going to sound crazy, but like you want the call to probably be 15.
Okay.
On that phone call, are you when you're setting up the estimate, are you confirming that both homeowners are going to be there?
Yes.
Okay, cool. What happens if they say like, "Oh no, my wife won't be there"?
Then I say, can we find a time when you'll both be available?
Okay, sweet. I would never do a quote unless both people are there. It just doesn't make any sense. Second thing is, are you talking about budget on that initial phone call?
I am, and I get a lot of pushback.
Yeah, it makes sense. How do you
I
ask
get
the
a lot of
question?
pushback. I say, hey, I just want to make sure. I've had some trouble in the past with not being on the same page as people. So I just kind of want to make sure that we're on the same page as far as budget goes. Where do you feel like your budget is? You know, what do you have an idea of what this is going to cost? I just want to make sure we're on the same page before we even move forward from here.
And what do they say?
Some people, well, I didn't used to say it like that. I said, so do you have an idea of what your budget is for this? And so, um, they say, well, I don't want to talk about budget. I don't want you to, I don't need to tell you my budget. I hate it when people ask that question. And I'm like, I get it. I don't like talking about money either. I just want to know so that we're on the same page. And I bring up the lady who thought she was going to get her whole kitchen redone for $5,000, and I show up with this quote for 17,
Yeah.
and she's blown away and oh well, I'm not paying that. Well, okay, I'm sorry to burst your bubble. So I use that as an example. She wanted granite countertops. She has 3 walls of cabinets, wanted them all redone.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll
It's
say
it.
this. I'll say this. Uh, it's very common for people to be like, I don't know, like that's kind of the reason why I'm getting a quote or
Uh,
something like that. That's very common. Very, very common. Still good to ask. And when they do say that, what I like to say is I go, oh, yeah, totally fair. I guess for you, have you ever gotten something like this done before? Yes, I have. Okay, how much was that? What did you get done? What I'm trying to do with the budget is I'm actually just trying to make sure that they have the financial capability to buy, not even that they have a realistic budget, because it's my
uh,
job as a salesperson when I'm there to actually show them the value and to actually have them understand the different costs. And the way that we did our quotes was standardized. So we had a standard for how long everything took, how much product it was going to require. So what that meant was that it didn't matter what they told me their budget was. This was just the formula that we were following. And so the reason I asked the budget, I actually like talking about money, just
yeah,
like a belief thing. But it's like, I actually want to know that so that I can give them something that they can say yes to.
yeah,
Similar to like, if you go to Best Buy to go and buy a TV, you might go in with a budget of $1,000. There's so many TVs that you can get for $1,000. You can get one that's like 75 inches 4K, but you can also get 85 inches that's not 4K. You can get a 65 inch that's some other like really, really high end pixel density. There's so many
yeah,
different ways to do it. So I'm just trying to understand all of the different variables so that I can give you something you can say yes to. But like it wouldn't be in my best interest to give you a quote that you didn't think was going to be a good value because then I won't get the job. So like that doesn't make sense, you
yeah.
know?
No, I agree.
Um, so that's a budget. Are you do you do any sort of pre-close? Do you know what I mean by like a pre-close?
No.
Okay.
What are we doing for pre-close?
So the last question I always ask is I like to tell them that we actually offer a 10% discount. I wouldn't do 10% if I were you, but a 10% discount on the day of the estimate if you did choose to hire us for the project. So that being said, like let's say we were here on Saturday, and if we were able to put together a price that fit inside of your budget, you felt really confident we were the right people to do the job, and we could do it in the timeline. Could you see yourself taking advantage of that discount and moving ahead with us on Saturday?
Okay.
And then they go, yes. Okay, great. I know they're ready to make a decision, but they might say, no, I can't do that. Okay, cool. Like, what would stop you? Oh, I'm getting another quote.
Yep.
Perfect. That makes sense. I also usually get a couple of different quotes. When are your quotes scheduled for? Oh, they're scheduled for Sunday. You're coming on Saturday. No stress. What we will do is, not would it be okay if, what we will do is, I'm telling, I'm not asking. What we'll
Hmm.
do is we'll put our quote to Sunday afternoon. That way, if you felt like we were the best people to do this job, at least you would be in a position to move forward and actually save some money. Because I'd hate for you to like sit with us, feel like we're the best, and then have to pay more simply because we weren't the last ones in.
Yeah.
So on Sunday, would 2 p.m. or would 4 p.m. work better?
Okay.
Now I'm the last one in. Now, if I'm sitting there presenting the quote to them on that day, well, if they have a quote that's lower, I can go, that's interesting. Typically, the only way that somebody could really come in lower than us is if they're doing less work or they're using a lower quality product.
Yeah.
Go grab that quote for me. I just want to compare apples to apples just to make sure you're getting what it is that you want. Because I would hate for you to like go forward with the cheaper guy and then it's actually not at all what we had talked about.
Yeah.
Can you go grab that? Okay, cool. And then I get to compare. And usually there is some difference in the quote that then you can still get the job either by matching the quality of the material or by just explaining like this, what they quote of you is not what you want.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
So, so that phone call right there, could you see how if you did that well, it would be worthwhile to sit down with that person? Like both homeowners are there, they have a realistic budget, they're ready to make a decision when you present it. It's like
Hmm.
I would go and present that quote. It's a $10,000 job. It's
Yeah.
worth it at that point. It's not worth driving 30 minutes out to somewhere where both homeowners aren't there, they're thinking about maybe doing it next year, like that's a waste of time.
Yeah. Yeah. I just did a deck quote like that.
Yeah, you could have just filtered that out up front and
Yeah.
saved all of that time.
Yep.
You would have filtered that out in like 8-minute conversation. And a big objection people have is, well, I can't do the estimate on the spot, so what do I do? So I want to tell you that too. If you can't do the estimate on the spot like we did with painting, what you do
Uh-huh.
is a 3-step process. Three. So site assessment, you do that first phone call. Site assessment, where you meet with them, you understand what they want. During that site assessment, you set up the next meeting, and it has to be within a week. But you set up that next appointment during that site assessment. And
Okay.
before I leave, I give them a rough budget range to make sure that I'm not going to waste time putting together a quote that has no chance of booking. And I reconfirm that they're ready to move forward when I come back for that next appointment.
Okay.
So now that I'm standing in front of them, I can say, so it looks to me like, based on what you're telling me, it's probably going to be in the range of like 30 to 50. It really depends on what materials we finalize during this process.
Uh-huh.
Is that in the ballpark for you guys? Like, is that going to be a possibility? If they say yes, that's a possibility, great. Now I've got like this range to work with, and I can go and like make sure I put together something in that range. But they might
Okay.
also say, 50 sounds really high. Once you're there, then that's when they're going to go, nah, 50's high. Like, we'd really like to keep it like 35, 40. Okay, great. I'll see what I can do in terms of like different materials and stuff for you guys. And I'll put together a few different options so you can choose.
Yeah. And I do that part of it.
Good.
Or I was doing that part of it. I started using Simply Wise, and I think I'm going to stop.
What is,
Um, Simply Wise, it's just AI estimator,
hmm,
and I'm not really happy with the results.
yeah,
Uh, I also feel like when I was doing word of mouth stuff, I spent more time with the customer pre-sale,
yeah,
um, because I did come back with a quote. I didn't just email a quote. So
yeah.
that,
You have a problem, which is that you don't have a lot of time. It's just the way you tried to solve that is actually hurting you more than going back out and presenting it would. It's just you have to make sure you have the pieces in place
I
to
agree,
not end up wasting that time.
and I don't think I like the way that the estimator presents, when printed out.
Yeah.
It doesn't present a very nice estimate. Even though I was just typing mine up, it
Hmm.
still would be a little better. So, okay.
Yeah.
A lot of what you're saying makes a lot of sense. I mean, I'm not doing painting, so I can't just take square foot and put it into a formula and
No.
have it right there on the spot. Um, every job is different.
Yeah. Well, that's where the 3-step process comes in.
That's
And
what,
what's
yeah.
nice is that during that first site assessment, first we're making sure that we're not going to waste time going to a site assessment that has no chance.
Yep.
That's why I'm also more flexible on like, I don't need an exact number during that first phone call. I just need to know that they have some amount of money to spend on a project and they're not expecting it to be 500 bucks. And I'll
Yep.
even say to them, I'm like, yeah, just want to be clear. Like, you understand this is going to be like tens of thousands for replacing a kitchen, not like $500, right? And they're like, haha, yeah. Okay, cool. That's all I
Yep.
need to know. Then when
So,
I'm there, I can give better expectation setting.
okay. Terrific. And that's what I've kind of gone towards, is just trying to make sure they understand what it's going to cost in general.
Yeah.
Um, and then I like the three-step process. That works really well. Um, I also feel like, unfortunately, um, the people that I'm getting through Facebook tend to want a deal. They want to go with the cheapest price from what I've been seeing.
It's possible. It definitely is possible. What I
Okay.
will say is I would be interested to listen to your initial phone calls because I remember one guy in particular was saying that. He's like, "Yeah, all they care about is the price." And then I
Yeah.
listened to his initial phone call and I was like, Okay, yeah, of course they do. Listen to what we're saying in this initial call, and I'm not saying you're doing this, but in the initial call, he basically started off by saying, "Hey, you reached out to us for a price on Facebook. Do you want to talk now?" And then the person was like, "Yeah, I'm just looking for a price." And then like it was like, "Yeah, that's gonna get created." And so every little piece that I was just talking about there actually
Yeah.
contributes to somebody wanting to spend more money for a better job. And
I,
there may
I,
still be some tweaking around to do, for sure, with the ads. I'm not
uh,
saying it's like perfect by any means, but it's hard if we're not using the best sales process, then we can't isolate for whether it's marketing or sales.
yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It-
yeah, for me, it's just that I've done a bunch of this, gone to a bunch of estimates, and it feels like the people were, even though they said they were prepared for what was going to cost, once they got the number, they really weren't that interested in doing the job. It just my feeling.
yeah. Yeah. And there's um there's this thing I talk about called painting the picture,
Uh,
and essentially what it is when you're doing the initial walk around, speaking in a way that has them understand the immense amount of work and the quality of the materials, price materials that go into the project. By the
okay,
time I present the price to them, they're like, I thought it was going to be way more than this. That's
okay,
that's the reaction that I want people to have, is I want them to think, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's only this much even if we're charging a premium price because of how much I'm describing what we do." So, very quick here, it's the difference between saying, "Oh yeah, we can paint the siding for you, no worries," and moving on, versus, "Okay, so how long has this siding been peeling for?" "Oh, it's been peeling for 8 years." "Okay, has it been getting worse and worse and worse and worse?" "Okay, yeah. It looks like it's peeling a lot right now." So what we're going to be doing first is we're going to have to lay down plastic drop sheets over the gardens, because when we go up and we start scraping it, it's going to be flying everywhere. Like there's so much to get down from here. And so we're going to go up, we're going to set up our ladder here. We're going to climb up 25 feet, it looks like, up to there, which means that we're also going to need to install fall arrest harnesses and stuff on the peaks of the roof. We're going to climb up, we're going to scrape. And then the reality is we can actually only really reach about this far with one ladder placement. So you see how it's like peeling there and there and there and there and there and there, there. That is all up and down the ladder, each individual ladder placement.
yep,
Then we're going to go back up and we're going to sand it. And then once that's done, then we're going to go back up and we're going to apply a primer to anywhere that it's failing. So we're going to go back up, do that. And it's like, oh, you see how all your siding has like the clapboard and there's the little ridges under? That means that we can't just like roll the whole thing. We're actually going to have to do it with brush and roller, which
yep,
means that, again, so it's like, oh yeah, we can paint the siding. That sounds cheap and easy. What I just described sounds like a huge amount of work and a lot of detail.
yep.
So there also may be little things like that that might be missing from the process that, if was being done, would have people be like, I can't believe it's only this much.
Yeah,
Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah. I totally get it, and that's something that I need to talk about as well while I'm doing the site assessment. Um,
Yeah, the site
uh,
assessment is for selling. Like that's a huge part of the sales process, and it's there's these beliefs that somebody has to have to make saying yes a no-brainer, and one of
mhm,
them is that it's a lot of work, it's a fair value for the amount of work that's getting done. If they don't believe that, then they're going to be like, "Oh, I don't see why it would cost this much. It's more than I was expecting."
yeah.
It's really tough. So nonetheless, I think there's definitely some opportunity on the sales process side for you.
Okay.
Um, because yeah, it's like in terms of cost per lead, cost per estimate, it's there. Like that is definitely scalable for the size of job that you have. It's just making sure we're doing everything on the sales side to get those things closed. And I think especially for you, if your goal is long term to get off of the tools, and maybe it's not even that long term, but to get off of the tools and to like have a crew doing the work, you're focused on sales, there's really nothing better that you can focus on than getting really good at that. And I've
Okay.
even done it where for me and for locations, because I used to like run 18 different locations across the province. And the it was pretty common where at different points in the season, I would say, hey, take a step back from producing the work quite as quickly. You just need
Mhm.
to focus more time on marketing and sales. So they would paint from like 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. And then from 3 until 7, they would go and do quotes or go do door to door or whatever it was, because it was like, let's just finish the day at 2 or 3 p.m., spend that time, and we would like take our crews out knocking doors and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So especially with not having a ton of work, obviously you need to pay the bills, so like you got to get the work done.
Yeah.
But it's a very profitable thing to do sales if you're doing it well.
Okay. Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. And I think as I've had more and more, I've kind of stepped back from talking about the process.
Mm,
Now that we're sitting here talking about it and talking about how much work something is, I go into it and say, "Oh yeah, it should be pretty easy." And that's too much, And then you give them a big number, and they're like, "I thought you said this was going to be easy."
yeah.
Well, just because something's easy doesn't mean that it doesn't cost money. So, um, yeah, I realize that now I'm doing that instead of telling them the process while saying, "Hey, yeah, it's no big deal, but it's going to be this and this and this and this, and these are the steps, and we're going to have to go through all of it." And you know,
Well, the goal of what you're saying there is probably to have them feel confident that you're the right guy to do it. So it's like, hey, it's not a big deal. Like, that's easy.
yeah,
But you can actually give them way more confidence in you doing the job if you describe the exact way that you're going to do it. Because
yep,
it's really easy for, like, me, for example. I don't know how to build a kitchen, but I could be like,
uh,
yeah, that's easy. Anybody could say it's easy, but you would actually be able to walk through, here's every step of this process.
and that's what I've stopped doing, and that's I need to get back to it. And
Yeah.
so I'd say, "Oh yeah, hey, it's no big deal. It's nothing for you to worry about. But we're gonna end up having to take out some drywall here. We're gonna have to put up some cabinets there and take these cabinets down. They may be a process to get down, but we'll get it done. And instead of doing that kind of stuff, I've just kind of gone in and started taking the measurements, talking a little bit, and telling people that the job is easy. It's not a big deal, and I need to stop the easy part and say, yeah, it's not a big deal, but here are the steps that we have to go through.
I'd be like, oh, this is a big deal. This is actually like
Yeah.
a pretty complicated process to go through.
Okay.
So here's exactly how I would handle this situation. And then you just say it. Because it's like, if it's not a big deal for you, it's kind of like, hey, could you just like also do this other thing for me? It's probably not a big deal. And now you're
Yeah.
doing a bunch of free stuff, you know? It's
Yeah.
like, no, it is a big deal. And it just is. It just is the work that is required to do this. And a lot of people don't understand how much work really goes into something. And even like I would describe the cost of some of our like hard materials and like the ladders. Like for example, if we have to go up next to a hydro line, it's like
Uh-huh.
we're gonna need a fiberglass ladder. Have you guys ever like bought a fiberglass ladder before? And I'm just like casual conversation. Have you ever bought a fiberglass ladder before, like a 36-foot fiberglass? I did not know when I had started this business how expensive those things are. Like just to be able to have this ladder, I think it
Yeah.
was like $700 kind of thing, $800.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot.
Even
And
28 foot, $600 now.
yeah, exactly. But like I'll just drop that in casually because they're like, oh, okay, cool. Like he actually had to buy this ladder to be able to go and do this. Oh, we're gonna use Dulux Diamond, which is their top of the line paint. Retails for over $110 a gallon. That
Yeah.
said, we get a good discount, which we pass along to you, but it's like, boom. So all of these little things contribute to whether they think you are premium, whether they want to pay a premium, or whether they think it's no big deal, it's easy. Oh, I guess this is going to be cheap.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think there's a couple of like very low hanging fruit that I think you can do just even coming out of this call that
Okay.
will make a huge, huge difference. Because with marketing, it's mostly about sales. It's like if you have a 20% booking rate versus 40, your marketing will cost twice as much to book the same amount of work because you have to generate twice as many estimates, twice as many leads to be able to book the same amount of projects.
Gotcha.
So if you can do what I'm describing here, everything becomes way more profitable, like pretty quickly.
Okay. All right. I got an estimate today. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, just and one more piece on this. Never ask somebody if they want to just sit down or whether they want to get it emailed. Like we're not giving people an option.
Yeah.
It's this is what is going to happen. So if you're going out and doing the site assessment today, it's like great, before I leave or
When's a
before
good time
you
to
leave.
come back?
Yeah, and not when is a good time to come back. I wouldn't even say that because they'll just say, just email it to me. I'd go, I'm going to come back and walk you guys through everything so we're on the same page. I'm available next Thursday at like 10 a.m. and then again at 2 p.m. Which one of those two would work better for you? So
Okay.
now I'm asking which one's better, not when are you available? And then it's like all over the place. Because also, people like doing business with people who are in demand and
Yeah.
who don't need the business. And so if somebody says to you, hey, can you come over tomorrow morning at this time or this day at this time, this day at this time? And you're like, yes, I'm free whenever. It's like, even if that's true, we don't need them to see that that is true.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
we just give them, hey, like my schedule's actually pretty tight. Um, I've got tomorrow at 3 or Friday at 4. Which one works better?
Yeah.
Or you can another trick. So on Saturday, would the morning or afternoon work better? The
Yeah.
morning. Okay. Would 10 a.m. or 12 p.m. be better?
Yeah. And I've been doing that one.
Nice. Good.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
yeah, make sure we get a definite meeting time set after the site assessment today.
Amazing. Amazing.
All right. All right. Well,
Well,
we'll try that and go from there.
good. Yeah, I gave you a bunch of stuff there. Any follow-up questions on that? We didn't really get to talk about the next. I do have a call here in 7 minutes, so we'll probably have
That's
to
okay.
reschedule. I just wanted to help you out, brother.
Yeah, no, I
I
appreciate
know
it.
you've got a
Trying to
lot
do
of
this,
stuff going on, so
trying to do everything on my own has been very difficult.
it's
Uh,
very hard.
yeah.
It's very hard.
When I had a partner, I thought I had a partner. It seemed like it was easy street,
Yeah.
but it was still up to me. And now I just have to figure out a format for the estimates that I like and go from there.
Yeah.
So, all right.
If you simply do that initial phone call the way
Yeah.
I'm describing it, and you set the expectation you're going to come in person and walk them through it, and we gave you a script to like
Yeah.
the initial script, just use that, and then presenting it in person. If you just do that, you will book more of the projects for sure. Like that's just
Okay.
such an easy low hanging fruit. Going from like that level of closing to the next level, there's a bunch of nuance. Like even that pre-close question, the final question of the call, I've got a 30-minute video just about that one single question. So there's obviously a lot of depth, but even if you do it poorly, you'll get like 50% of the benefit just by doing it.
Okay.
So just do it.